What's up, you guys? Steven here for Off the Shelf Movie Nights to talk to you about physical media, about Blu-rays, 4Ks, and DVDs, what I like to buy and own our movies and TV shows, and collect them in a library and watch them when and how we want. So, if you've been following me for a while, you know when we hit June, it's time for me to do a complete reorg of my collection. I need to re-alphabetize the genres and, just clean it up. And when I do that, I just pull it all off the shelf and then reorganize it and put it back. And as I'm doing that, I do some videos to show you guys my collection as it stands. Quick note about organization, if I can speak. I like to organize by genre first and then alphabetical within that genre. Now, there are some exceptions. We're going to talk about Steelbooks today. I like Steelbooks, whatever the genre of film, to be in their own section because they just look cool together. The only exception to that is I have a pretty decent selection of Disney Steelbooks, and I like all the Disney stuff in one spot. So I do have a little Steelbook section within my Disney collection also. So you won't be seeing all the Steelbooks today. You'll be seeing the non-Disney stuff. And more specifically, even than that, mostly the Disney stuff that's in that section is Disney kids stuff, because there's probably technically some Disney stuff in here, but it's not kids related. I like the animated stuff and related stuff to that in its own section. So Steelbooks has its own section. Boutique collections have their own section. Arrow Video has its own space. Scream Factory has its own space. Vinegar Syndrome, Criterion, they all have their own space because there's such a consistency in their design, their packaging design, that they just look good together. So I have to do that. Kino Lorber, no, they're all over the place. My Kino Lorbers, they're in whatever genre that film is because, like I said, they are numbered, and I know some people sort their Kino Lorbers by number, and the spines are generally black, and that's okay. I mean, they do look good together, but I don't feel the need to do that one. I don't find Kino Lorber to be like top tier boutique, but I do find them to be one of the workhorses of physical media. They just keep churning out great product. So I love them, but they don't warrant their own space on my shelf. Other than that, action, science fiction, and fantasy is all one section. When you start to get a big collection and you have limited space, you can't break those apart. You got to kind of put them together. So action, sci-fi, fantasy is one spot. Drama and comedy is one spot. Drama, comedy, and documentary, honestly, is one spot. And also in that spot is TV, because I have very few of those. Now, that could change if I add a lot to those genres. They might break apart because it is a lot in one space. But I don't tend to buy a lot of TV because it's out there to see, and you don't get a lot of bonus features with TV collections. Now, if I have a show that I really love and there are good bonuses, I do buy it. I have a few shows. You'll see them when we go over that grouping of films. Okay? So, and as I said, Disney, and with Disney, I usually put most of my animated films, even if they're not Disney, in that section, just kids' movies. Then horror, definitely biggest section of my collection, has its own space. So, and I know I keep breaking apart, but Marvel pretty much has its own space as well. And I need to make some corrections on that because in the Marvel section there are Steelbooks, and I have a few Steelbooks in the pile we're about to go through that should be up there with Marvel. They're not maybe MCU, but anything Marvel related I'd want in that spot. See, I have something to drink here because this is going to be a fairly long video. I'm not going to talk a lot about each thing because it could be a really long video. We're just going to fly through it. If there's something you want me to talk about, you want me to review the movie, you want to see the Steelbook in depth, you want me to crack it open, that kind of thing, put it in the comments. I'll group all those together and do a separate video showing those things off. All right, so let's get started. We're going to do Steelbooks. So these are all pretty much kind of out. They're kind of in order, kind of out of order, because things have just gotten mixed up. Because I tend to pull things off the shelf for videos, either for here or for TikTok, and they go back on in the wrong space. Because my shelving is so limited, I'm stacking stuff, and it's hard to get things back in once you've pulled it out. So that's one of the reasons we do this. So you'll notice that it's kind of in alphabetical order, but not fully. All right, here we go. First up, Apollo 13. I like this Steelbook. I love this movie. I was just talking on a live the other day about Apollo 13. I think I need to rewatch this movie. Aquaman, Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa has a new place in cinema for me after seeing how amazing he was in Fast 10. A movie that would have been a failure without him. Alright. Backdraft. If you haven't seen this movie, it's a lot of fun. It's a kind of drama. Not really action, it's a different kind of thing. We don't have a lot of movies that fit this space anymore. Yeah, see? Out of order. Animal House. One of the greatest comedies of all time. Amazing John Belushi. Just great overall cast. What do we have here? The Green Mile. I love this movie. It's probably a little bit long, but this is one of the better Stephen King adaptations. Very cool. Simple Steelbook. Gladiator. I wasn't the biggest fan of this kind of artwork that they did for Gladiator and Braveheart, which I have, and it should have already been shown to you, but it's out of order. But I didn't have these movies in my collection, and the price was right. So, there you have it. Oh god, this movie. Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. I really only have this because my girlfriend likes this movie. I need to watch this one. I'm going to put this over here. We'll talk about it in a minute. You'll see why. You'll see why. Choking already, you guys. Sorry. Heavy Metal 2000. I like both of these movies, and they had them in one collection in a Steelbook, so why not? The price was good, too. Hobbs and Shaw. I would love to have seen a sequel to this. I loved these two together. Jason Statham and The Rock. Talk about that one in a minute. That one too. Alright. Hunt for Red October. Classic. Really great 4K. What do we have here? Independence Day. I didn't think this movie is alright. I kind of went through a period where when it came out, I liked it. Then as I became more aware of cinema and understanding how cinema works, I started to not like it. And now I've kind of found my way back to it, just liking it for, you know, being a schlocky movie. Desperado. I love this movie. I really need to get a hold of El Mariachi. They should do these in a box set, honestly. Robert Rodriguez, filmmaker that I really root for, who has had more misses than hits, unfortunately, but I really do root for him for some reason. He's Maverick. He's a Maverick filmmaker. I guess that's why. Clueless. This is a very cute movie from Amy Heckerling, a director who really, for a long time, had her finger on the pulse of that age group, of being able to, you know, bring the young 20-something experience to life, I guess. Close Encounters. Very classic movie. One of the greatest alien movies of all time. People want to hate on Steven Spielberg, but he's just a damn fine filmmaker. I need a 4K of this. Children of Men. If you haven't seen this and you like thought-provoking science fiction, you need to be watching this movie. It's very good. Cat's Eye. It's an okay Stephen King anthology adaptation. I mean, I don't think it's amazing, but it's fine. It's good. Black Hawk Down. I love the balls of this Steelbook. It came out early in the 4K life, I guess. And it just was so ballsy at the time to come out and not have the title on the cover of your Steelbook. Boys in the Hood, one of the greatest urban films of all time. John Singleton. I went on to not like a lot of his stuff as much, but that movie's classic. The Birds. I'm thinking of doing some kind of Alfred Hitchcock display, maybe. Maybe. You'll see why. You'll see why. In fact, I'm going to lay this over here separate. You'll see why as we go through the collection. The Blues Brothers. Another in that same era of comedy for John Belushi. Classic. Not only is this movie hilarious, it has amazing music. Amazing music. Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2. People want to hate on Bad Boys 2, but I love it. I think it's almost as good as the first one. And honestly, Bad Boys for Life wasn't bad. It was pretty good too. It's the third best Bad Boys movie, right? Here it is. Braveheart. See how those weird G's got in the way? They were out of sorts. Yeah, I don't love that artwork though. This is a really pretty steelbook. Bridge over the River Kwai. Beautiful steelbook. Looks like a piece of art, honestly. Right? Cool. Very cool. We're clicking right along through these. So like I said, if you want to see something in depth, you're going to have to just let me know in the comments. Because I have a lot to deal with here. Speaking of directors I root for, District 9, Neil Blomkamp. This is a classic. I liked Elysium. I think Elysium was overhated, but he's had a lot of misses too, and that Gran Turismo movie as coming out looks pretty bad, to be honest. Django Unchained. People forget that Quentin Tarantino has done, you know, a couple of really great westerns. I need to revisit this movie, to be honest. I think I keep saying that, but when you have a collection like this, you're always watching stuff, so you got to make yourself go back and look at stuff once in a while. Dr. Sleep. See, I have an instinct about this movie, and I have a few here that I've sorted out that I have the same instinct for, is I want this in the Steelbook section, but I also would like this paired with The Shining, which I don't have on Steelbook. So what do you think I should do? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Sad about this one. I'm going to have to replace this one, The Equalizer. I really like this movie, but in the move, when I moved into this house, it got pretty badly damaged. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's dented pretty aggressively. This will not stand. Fifth Element. This is toward the end of Bruce Willis's quality career, toward the end of him making good movies. Elf. I don't like this movie. Having the collection for my girlfriend, because she likes it. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This is just such a fun movie. This is like a comfort movie for me. I think for a while I wanted to be Ferris Bueller and take that kind of day off. Field of Dreams. I'm not a sports movie fan per se, but this is a really good one. This is kind of a pretty basic steelbook, but it was a good price and the movie wasn't in my collection, so I picked it up. Gattaca. We were just talking about Ethan Hawke movies, and I referenced this one. I really like Gattaca, and I couldn't think of the name of it the other night because it's just how my mind is, but I also really like First Reformed by him. If you haven't seen it, you should. Alright, moving on here. These are not in too bad a shape, as far as alphabetizing. Just a little cleanup I've got to do. It's a Wonderful Life. So I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. My family likes this movie, but I do love the restoration that was done. It's a beautiful restoration. And there's a great documentary on this release talking about the restoration. So I would keep it just for the documentary if no one liked it. Jaws. This is my one regret. When I pre-ordered this movie when it was coming out, I took the Steelbook because I just thought it would be cooler. And it's cool. It's cool. But the regular release that came out with a slip that had the book, kind of wish I got that one. If I ever find that one used, I might double dip, I'll be honest. And I don't double dip very often. Ooh, that one's got to go somewhere else. Classic Red Dawn. I love this sort of 80s rah-rah American action movie. You know, this is, but the funny thing is, I'm looking at this movie now. You know, I watched it when I was a little kid. Looking at it now, the people that are in this movie, the football players and cheerleaders, I would have hated all of these people in real life. Salem's Lot. Another good, pretty good, this is a TV movie, but it's a pretty good Stephen King adaptation. One of my favorite movies the last 10 years, Nightmare Alley. I love this movie. A lot of people slept on this movie. They did not see it in the theater when it came out, and it is a shame because this movie is so beautifully practical. It's a great movie, to begin with. But the practical nature of it, the built sets. This was not shot on green screen. This was created, and it's wonderful. Speaking of something that had a lot of practical sets and builds and stuff, it did have some CG too, but because it kind of had to, I guess. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't have a lot of the Tarantino 4Ks yet. I need to pick up more because I think I would do a director series. I do have a couple of director series. I have all my John Carpenters in one spot, and I'm starting to work on Tobe Hooper's. So I could do a Tarantino for sure. Pretty Woman, Pretty in Pink. I went through a phase when I was little, just loving anything with Molly Ringwald in it. She's super cute. And these are fun, like John Hughes movies. And they had sort of a rose-colored glasses look at, I think, the teenage experience from the 80s, but they're fun watches. Let's see, here we go. Psycho. One of the greatest movies of all time. And I don't know if it's my favorite, actually. I like Vertigo a lot, but this is a classic, a really great Hitchcock movie. I'm going to put that there. All right. This one we're going to talk about later. All right, we got The Purge. I love this movie. Is this The Purge? Or, yeah, this is just The Purge. I know they have some collections. Or is this a collection? Yeah, I think this is just The Purge. See, now I gotta look. Because I would swear I had a collection. And you're gonna get to see it. Because I want. Yeah, this is just The Purge. I'll show it to you since I got it out. Boom. Let me put it back in its condom. And I know people think, especially non-collectors, think this is kind of stupid to do this. But the problem with Steelbooks is when you put them on the shelf, especially ones like this one that have just the matte finish, the paint rubs off. They scratch, rubbing against each other on the shelf or touching other Steelbooks for too long. So it's better to put them in something. And the tape on this one, of course, got screwed up, so on this bag. And I know there's some hardcover ones, like hardbox ones, and I think at some point I might start to get some of those, but these turkey bag situations here, which you can get off Amazon, are so cheap. It's just hard not to get. When you're buying a lot, they're just so cheap. You know what, I'm gonna have to do this off camera because the bag is kind of screwed up now. All right, so moving on. It, the good one. This is chapter 1. And there's It, the not so good one. This is chapter 2. I could probably live without the second one, to be honest, but there's good making of stuff on those releases. So, and I love the documentary stuff when it comes to making movies. So, all right, and here's some other issues here. I see things out of order, so I'm gonna have to correct this. Death Race. I don't have a lot of these comic book designs. I think these were Best Buy exclusives, but they're not really valuable. It's just they did comic book boxes like art, and it's okay. Kind of suits this movie. Now I think we're back on track. Oh, bumping the mic. Resident Evil. I know this is kind of a bad movie, but this is one of those movies that I don't care. I just love it. Okay. Well, these are really out of order here. Jumanji. This is actually the sequel. Definitely a sequel, not a remake. I really liked this movie. I didn't expect to. The Rock and Karen Gillan made it for me. I know Jack Black was good and whatever, but everybody in here was good, honestly. But Karen Gillan and The Rock actually made it for me. They really surprised me. John Wick 1 and 2. I don't have 3 because I think it's a bad movie. And I'll probably get 4, I guess. I think, maybe it's a hot take, I guess. I think 4 is okay, but it's shallow somehow. It's just lacking anything. The first movie had some emotional depth to it, and even the second one had some of that. But the third and fourth movies were just, they've gone they kind of lost the plot on that side of things. They focused more on the world building and the ridiculous action, which are the two things the franchise is known for. So I guess I get it, but the first two worked so well because there was some emotional depth in the stories. So, Matrix. I did double dip on this one. I have this, and I have a collection somewhere also. Men in Black. Cool Steelbook. I had the Men in Black collection, but I got an offer I couldn't refuse on it, and I don't really like the other movies that much, so I'll let it go. Alright. My girlfriend bought this one for some reason, Mortal Engines. I did watch it because I was curious about the art design. It's not great, but it's not as bad as everybody made it out to be. It's not great, though. I like this movie. People don't like it for some reason. Terminator Dark Fate. This is, for me, the 4th best Terminator. So, actually kind of goes in order for me. Well, not really. Terminator 2 is best, then Terminator, then Terminator 3, and then this one. Yes, that's right. I said Terminator 3. I like that movie. The Warriors. We're going to get a 4K of this at some point. I need a director's cut. I conceded and bought this one. I only did it because I got it for free with Best Buy points. Because this has the new director's cut on it with the comic book stuff put in it. I want the original theatrical cut. This is a double dip for me. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is a really cool Steelbook from Dark Sky Films. Well, the front is really cool, put it that way. But it has at least one special feature that my other version of this 4K doesn't have, so I'll have to keep them both. Hate that. But it happens sometimes. See, now we get to the original Jumanji, which is cool. Looks like the box. Looks like the game box. Very cool. Steven Spielberg's World of Worlds. People hated on this movie a little bit. It has Tom Cruise in it. It's actually a really great movie. I think the ending is a little more saccharine than I would have liked, but it's a great movie. Okay. West Side Story. I don't like musicals. My girlfriend wanted to buy this, so she bought it. So we have it. I don't know if I'll ever watch it. Weird Science. Watch my eBay. This Weird Science Steelbook is probably going to get flipped if you're into the Steelbooks. I'm probably going to flip this because there's a 4K coming, and I'd rather have that. This one was on sale, and I bought it because I hear it's really good. I haven't watched it. The Wind Rises. This is a pretty bare bones Steelbook. All right, last big stack. Here we go. Home stretch. Sin City. This movie deserves a premium release. It needs a big box with a bunch of extras and all that stuff. It really has been mistreated. I don't know how this would look, how Sin City would look in 4K, because I don't know what all the CG was rendered in back in the day. So I'm not sure about that, but it needs a premium release. All right, everybody has to have some cool schlocky action, and I've got some right here with Smoking Aces. This is a pretty neat Steelbook, I will admit, and it's a fun, schlocky action movie. Why not? And we move from that to one of the greatest action films of all time. Speed. This is a stunning 4K. The fact that Disney let this get released, and this was actually done by the Fox team, and you see that this looks better than any Disney 4K that's been released to date, should be embarrassing for them. Again, my girlfriend bought this one because she liked the art. Spies in Disguise. I have not watched it yet. You guys tell me if it's any good. I think maybe I should move this with the animated things. Maybe. We'll think about that. Alright. The Sting. One of the greatest heist films of all time. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you run out, pick this up, and watch it right away. Super 8, J.J. Abrams doing his best Steven Spielberg imitation. very fun movie, and it's a movie about filmmaking, so I love that. The Wolf of Wall Street. I think there's a new, Arrow Video has a new 4K of this one or something. This one's 4K also, but I think they have a new one that has a bunch more extras, so I'm going to have to look into that. If I can get it, I think it's import only, but if I can get it, I may end up flipping this Steelbook. Not that the Steelbook is particularly valuable, but if there's no extras here on this one that can't be got on the other release, there's no point in double dipping. I don't do that. I don't double dip for packaging, you guys. Alright, let's see. We've got some X-Men movies. I'm just going to fly through these. I like both of these movies. I'm thankful that this movie got to exist, Serenity, because Firefly needed a good ending. It was a good show that got mistreated royally. It's a real shame what's happened with Joss Whedon, because he's a talented writer. But, you know, who cares? We don't need him anymore, right? We've got AI. Shazam, I think this is a cute movie. The sequel sucks. I saw it in theater. It's terrible. Shutter Island. This was a surprise. Way better than I thought it was going to be. Very good movie. Alright, so I have some sorted here that I want to talk about separately, because let me get some things out of the way so I can talk about these. I had the two Hitchcock movies that the Steelbooks that I pulled out, because I have other Hitchcocks on the shelf, and I think I might do some kind of section for that. But I have a bunch of movies here that are... Oh, also, this one, did I show this one? I don't remember. This New Frontier. This has got to be moved to the animated section. It needs to be moved. Let's see. Let me just show a few things that aren't part of this stuff I'm going to talk about. So I have here Deadpool, and I have it sorted because I have a Deadpool 2, and I need to put these together. But I got to figure out what I'm going to do. So I don't have as extensive, I'm trying to get them here, extensive of a Lionsgate collection as a lot of collectors here, but I have a lot, and I'm thinking I should do them separate. Maybe you guys tell me. And it's only because they have these really cool slips, clear slips, that mean I don't have to put these in bags. The slip is good to protect it. So I was wondering if I should sort these in their own section. Maybe not, but they're usually a good bit nicer. So I'll just show you what I have. So we'll start with The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. I think this movie was okay. It's another girlfriend pick. And since we had the first one, we had to get the second one. Yeah, so we'll definitely be putting those together, whatever we do in this. Hurt Locker. Catherine Bigelow. You gotta love Catherine Bigelow. She's one of the most underappreciated action movie directors of all time. Dirty Dancing. Yeah, I'm having some Patrick Swayze movies. I have a few. I have Steel Dawn. I have this one. And I recently picked up, during the Vinegar Syndrome sale, Roadhouse. So maybe there will be a little Patrick Swayze thing that happens, collection-wise. We'll see. We'll see. All right. We have Universal Soldier, one of Roland Emmerich's earliest films. I think this is his second film, I believe. And you've got Dolph Lundgren, you've got Van Damme in here, you know, facing off mano a mano and sci-fi ridiculousness. Moonfall, my girlfriend liked this movie. I didn't like it, but I had a great time laughing at it, so that's fine. I'm not a huge fan of the entire Saw franchise, to be honest, but I do like the first one. And this is a cool Steelbook. It's unrated, which is cool. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Good movie. I mean, it's not as good as everybody's making it out to be, but it is a good movie. The Punisher. I love this movie. People don't appreciate this movie enough. It's campy and funny, but somehow fits. It fits the character to me somehow. Alright, we have Sicario here. This is the first one. The second one. Yeah, we've got Sicario. I have them both. The other one will pop up here in a minute. Hacksaw Ridge. I hear this is good. I got it because the Steelbook was a good price and people keep telling me it's good, but I have this fear that it's going to be too preachy and that's going to annoy me. Alright, so here's Deadpool 2. So yeah, I'm going to put this with the other Deadpool, but the other Deadpool Steelbook is just, you know, not great in comparison to Deadpool 2. I love this Cloverfield Steelbook. Very, very cool. Although this looks kind of loose. Alright. Cabin in the Woods. If you haven't seen Cabin in the Woods, don't look at this Steelbook with the slip-off because it's very revealing. A Quiet Place. I do have A Quiet Place Part 2, but again, it's a situation where it's not the Steelbook. I missed the Steelbook. So, and I'm not going to go chasing the Steelbook just to have a match set and buying it used for whatever amount of money. So I'll have to decide, am I going to put that together or not? I probably won't. Apocalypse Now. This is a double dip. I have a better version of this, but someone in my household, not naming names, fell in love with that Steelbook. So now we double dip. Some of these covers, man. Angel Heart. Hard to read. It's kind of a cool Steelbook, though. Angel Heart's a good movie. Very kind of, I don't know, gross movie in a way. It just has this vibe to it, a dirty vibe to it, that I love it. 3 from Hell. I only own this because I like the documentary stuff that Rob Zombie always does for his movies. This is a bad movie. Alright, so we have, try to turn it upside right here. We have Requiem for a Dream. This is a beautiful movie, but sad and disturbing. Very hard movie to watch. One of the hardest movies to watch in my collection. And that's it. That's it. That is the Steelbook collection as of now, other than Disney stuff and Marvel stuff. So there's substantially more, but they have their own sections. We'll do those separately. If you want to see any of these opened up, or you want me to talk about the movies in particular, hit me in the comments, let me know, and we'll do it. We'll talk about it. I just love talking about movies with you guys. Until next we meet, pull something cool off the shelf, share with your friends and family, and remind them why physical media is the best way to watch films and TV at home. I'll see you guys on the next one.